After 18 rounds of the regular season, who makes your team of the season for the URC? Who's the best player in their position over the regular season when we had all 16 teams involved before 8 of them are now on the beach and the other 8 are looking forward to their playoff matches this coming weekend? It's been a brilliant season, and that is reflected in just how difficult it was for me to pick this URC dream team. I've had a go, and the extra curveball that's been thrown in this particular season is it was a World Cup year. So a lot of the biggest and arguably best players in their position haven't played a massive amount of URC rugby. Consequently, there might be some names you're not expecting in my team. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up and help spread the word. It has been a brilliant season for the URC, hasn't it? And yeah, let's get cracking with loose head prop, where I have picked Nicky Smith of the Ospreys. He was involved with Wales at the Rugby World Cup and then was overlooked by them for the Six Nations. And I can't understand that, to be perfectly honest. He's been excellent in the URC. 12 appearances, and the Ospreys have only won 10 games in their season out of the 18 matches, which is a big improvement for them. They've made the playoffs. Big achievement. Thing is, they tend to win when this guy's in the front row. He's been that influential for them. He's had some man of the match performances through the season as well, which is quite rare for a prop. And yeah, I think he's been outstanding. I mean, Brock Harris at Stormers was really good. Reece Carey, Oxen Che, obviously, but he didn't play as much URC rugby as we would have expected. So Nicky Smith it is for me. At hooker, Johnny Matthews, another player, briefly involved at the Rugby World Cup for Scotland before the disappointment there, and then overlooked during the Six Nations. And Glasgow fans are scratching their head going, how can you overlook this guy? He is the top scorer in the URC this season. No one else has dotted down as many times as him. Johnny Matthews and at the back of a driving maul, name a more iconic duo. 17 appearances, and they've only lost twice when he's been in the starting lineup. Really, really strong figure, and it's impressive to get the 2 jersey because Akamat van der Merwe at the Bulls and Grobelaar at the Bulls have both been great. Arguably, they both miss out because they've been sharing the starting job, whereas this guy's been the main man for Glasgow. Also, I would give a mention to Ewan Ashman. I'd mention Dewi Lake, and I'd mention Dan Sheehan. But Johnny Matthews getting the nod. To complete the front row, Neithling Fouchier of the Stormers. And they needed him. They needed an anchor at scrum time, and they got one. Without Franz Malherbe, obviously off being a legend, winning another World Cup, step forward Fouchier, who has been his understudy. He's been the main man in the 3 jersey for the Stormers this season, and he has been the anchor for them in the scrum. And he's played really, really well. 17 appearances, 13 starts, and when Fouchier has been involved, the Stormers haven't lost since round 6 away at the Bulls. I'd also give a mention to Tom O'Toole at Ulster, who always impressed me whenever I saw him play as well. Second row, and the Bulls skipper Ruan Nortier gets the nod in the second row. If he were any other nationality, he'd probably have a bunch of caps already. He might get brought into the Springbok fold, potentially. Tell me what you think about that. What are his chances? Because, I mean, South Africa are absolutely stacked in that position. They might not need him. That doesn't change the fact he has been outstanding for the Bulls this season. 13 starts. He's taken his team to second in the table. Deserves to be there. I'll give a mention as well for Ruben van Heerden of the Stormers and Ross Maloney for Leinster, who always impress me. Second row partner with Nortier is Tygburn, who is just relentless, this guy. Yes, he played 12 matches for Ireland through this season, and he still turned out for Munster a bunch in the URC, partly because of the fact they got knocked out of the Champions Cup and focused on the URC, the holders, of course. But not only has he played a bunch of games, quite a lot of games in the URC, unlike most players at the Rugby World Cup, he's played 80 minutes almost every time he plays. The guy has got an engine that goes on for days. His work rate is phenomenal. His attitude, defensive work, over the ball jackling, his line-out steals and his ball carries. He's the full package for me for a second row. And in the URC this season, I think he stands out head and shoulders in his position. Tom Ahern at Munster as well. Been very, very good. Into the back row then. Evan Ruis is my blindside flanker. Well, number 6. I know South Africa have the numbers the other way around. He's in the back row, and I had to get him in there somewhere. And he played a lot of number 8. He played wearing the 7 jersey, more recently wearing the 6 jersey. That's where I've got him now. And he's playing like he really, really wants that Springbok jersey. And I wouldn't put it past him getting it on recent performances because he's a wrecking ball of a ball carrier, so explosive, so violent with everything he does in the best possible way. But a level of maturity is starting to come into Evan Ruis's game, which is really good to see. He's been a bit of a penalty machine at times, but there was a few weeks ago I watched a game and someone tried to wind him up and he just walked away, didn't have any of it. And I thought, yeah, he's got it now. He's got that top 2 inches. He knows what he wants. He wants that green and gold jersey. He missed out on the Rugby World Cup, and he means business right now. And he's been excellent for the Stormers. I'd give a mention to Cian Prendergast, to Issaquah for Benetton as well, who've both been very good. In the back row alongside him for the Bulls, Elrich Lowe, who again, all action, massive defensive unit, but can throw his weight around in attack as well. 16 URC appearances, 6 tries, one of the Bulls' best players. He had to get into the back row. Dave McCann for Ulster always impressed me. Will Connors, when he played for Leinster, looked really good as well. To complete, though, an all-South African back row, I've gone for Franco Horn. He has started every single URC match for the Lions. He's scored 8 tries. He's right up there in the try-scoring charts, and he's just all action. Really, really like the way he plays. So that completes my pack. Tell me what you think. Who have I missed? Who should have got in? It's really tough to call. So let me know in the comments down below. And while I do that, while you're doing that, I'll just thank one of the people helping make this video possible, Simbavati. They have amazing lodges in the African bush, in wildlife sanctuaries like Timbavati and Klasiri up north, or the Cedarburg Mountains in the Cape. If you're headed south, there's wildlife, there's nature, there's calmness. And I am so looking forward to seeing the rugby. I'm going to be going to Craven Week to see the next generation of Springboks, then the current Springboks in those epic test matches in Pretoria and Durban against Ireland. But while I am there in South Africa, first ever trip to the country, I am expecting some life-changing days in the African bush, and I cannot wait. Thank you, Simbavati.com. Link in the description down below. Let's move on to the back line. Scrum half for me, John Cooney, who keeps defying the critics and defying the odds. Every year you think he's going to lose his starting job for Ulster. He manages to wrestle it back and hold on to it, and he keeps reminding you why you scratch your head thinking, how has he not had more caps for Ireland? He's been brilliant. Clutch king kicker when they need it. Think back a couple of weeks against Leinster when he nailed those kicks to win the game. And when you look at the table and how it's shook down, didn't Ulster need it? It's been a really difficult season for Ulster with the financial situation, with all the coaching changes going on off the pitch. They needed a leader and someone dependable. John Cooney was that man. I would also mention Ambrose Papier has been good. Morne van den Berg at the Lions, and Sanele Nhamba has played a bit of scrum half for the Lions as well. He could have been in with a shout at fly half as well, but I've gone for Jack Crowley of Munster there. He also, like Tyburn, played 12 times for Ireland this season. He is the Ireland number 10 now following the World Cup, but he also loves to get stuck in for Munster when he comes back to his province, and he's been outstanding. He's played 12 times in the URC. He was a part of that team that won away at the Bulls, and when you look at the table now, with Munster top of the table, that win away at the Bulls in second place looks really, really important. And Jack Crowley was a big part of that. There's lots of good contenders at fly half. Usain of the Bulls, Ben Healy at Edinburgh, top point scorer. Marnie Lebock has been really good. Tinas de Beer at Cardiff. Jack Crowley, though, for me, because of the number of games he's played, gets the nod over some others. Onto the left wing there. This was easy. I took about 5 seconds to pick Kurt Lee Arendse as the left wing. He's a rugby cheat code. The guy's a freak, and I would make an argument he's the best winger in the world right now. Tell me if you disagree. I think it's quite hard to disagree. Comments down below, though. Stockdale's been really good for Ulster. Kanan Moody, I'll come to him, he's on the right wing. Ratavi for Benetton, and Shane Daly for Munster. A few players that have been really good. There's been a lot of good contenders. Kurt Lee Arendse is amazing. His defence is outstanding. His work rate's brilliant, and he can do things in attack that just other players can't. He's a freak. Into the centres then, Alex Nankervel of Munster gets the nod at inside centre. He's been such a good signing from the Highlanders. Real all-round rugby player, good rugby brain, tough, nuggety, solid in defence, really good in attack. He can play 12 and he can play 13. Along with Antoine Frisch has formed a really good partnership for Munster. And didn't they know it at the weekend? Without those two, they look a totally different team, and they'll want Nankervel to be back in that midfield for playoff push. I would also say Jamie Osborne at Leinster has been really good. Ignacio Brex at Benetton. Kieran Williams at Ospreys. Jordan Hendricks has impressed me playing at the Lions. Interested to see what he can do at the Sharks next season. And yeah, Alex Nankervel, though, getting the nod. If you disagree, tell me down below. David Creel is my 13. He's been brilliant for the Bulls, hasn't he? Plays fullback occasionally, can goal kick, but he's really found his home in the 13 jersey. And Tommaso Melancello probably would have been the player you'd pick in that shirt had he played more times, but Menoncello only played 5 times for Benetton. David Creel has been there right through. Bulls second in the table. And, you know, with guys like Kanan Moody, Willie LaRue, Kurtley Arendse outside, you need someone who's got an all-round game to be able to unleash those players. And Creel has done exactly that job. Got a few tries himself. On the right wing, I've gone for Kyle Rowe of Glasgow Warriors. He's forced himself into the Scotland reckoning even more so now and has shown that he's really competent on the international stage, and that's off the back of a very strong season for Glasgow where he got 9 tries to his name in 13 starts. Werner Koch got 9 tries as well for Sharks. I'd mentioned him. Kanan Moody, I've already mentioned. He's been great on the wing. I think he's the one that I'd be picking in my team of the season. If you disagree, of course, as I say, there's loads of good contenders. Let me know. This was a really difficult one. I've gone for Kieran Frawley of Leinster at fullback. I mean, the guy's a fly half, isn't he? And Leinster fans, I know, are scratching their head going, why hasn't he been given opportunities at 10? I know they're excited about Sam Prendergast in the future. Ross Byrne has been the incumbent. This guy can't seem to get a look in the 10 jersey. He's been played mostly at fullback this season. He's played a lot of games there. He's scored a lot of tries this season as well. And he's been really, really solid. He isn't the kind of attacking, all-action, explosive fullback like Kwan Horn for the Lions, who I'd say has been really good. Like Afaleli Fassi, who's been great for the Sharks. Willie LaRue has been so good and might feel unlucky not to be in this team. Kieran Frawley's been so dependable, so reliable, and he's forced himself into the international reckoning. He got some games during the Six Nations and looked really good, and he's going to be a key part of Leinster's team. He's been there throughout the URC season. Now all the big guns are going to come back in. Kieran Frawley, I think, will keep his place and deserves to as well. It'll be interesting to see what shirt. For me, he's in the 15 jersey, and that is my team of the season. And just having a look down that list, that means there are, count them, 1, 2. The Bulls have the most players with 4 in the team. Munster have 3. So that's 7 players, nearly half the side. I guess it makes sense. They're the top 2 teams in the URC this season, and they have played... Yeah, you know what? They're the 2 teams that have played their big-name players, the ones involved at the World Cup, the most. Kurtley Arendse, Willie LaRue, Tadhg, Jack Crowley, their big-game players have played the most. It'll be interesting to see how that translates into the knockout stages. But there you go, 4 players for Bulls, 3 for Munster, 2 each for Glasgow and the Stormers, 1 for Leinster. Again, you look at all the players in Leinster's ranks. Dan Sheehan's one of the best hookers in the URC. Go down the whole team, and but they haven't played those players very much in the URC. Jameson Gibson Park's only played a few times. Ulster, Lions, and Ospreys have got 1 as well. So every team in the playoffs has got at least one player, except for Benetton. Brex and Menoncello, probably one of those might have been in if they played lots more. Isakor's been really good. Ratavi's been good. So there you go. The Lions were outside the playoffs and got 1. Benetton aren't in the playoffs and did get 1. I suppose it makes a bit of sense when you look at it like that. But tell me what you think, and I'll see you on the next video.